friends, welcome to Sydney Makes Crochet Items. Today we are going to work up a Crossing with Kindness beanie. So this is going to be basically an updated version of the rough draft beanie that I did earlier. So what you're going to need is whatever yarn you want. I'm using a 4-weight, and this is just leftover yarn from my Premier ombre in the color Fern, I believe. Since it's the month of March, we're going to work with green yarns. You're also going to need a 5.5mm hook to start with, and then for the body of the hat, you're going to go to a 6, but depending on your tension and whatever the case may be, you might just go all the way through with 5.5. Who knows? You also need a pair of scissors. Mine are cool little nifty fold ones. You also need a darning needle and a stitch marker, but the stitch marker you can do with or without, depending on how you crochet. I also have a stitch tape measure here, but I always use my hand method. So the hat is for me, so basically I go by my hand method, but having one of these helps too. Alright, so now that you know what you need, go ahead and grab your supplies, and I'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. So we're going to start off with a magic circle, but you can always start it however you need. I'm going to do a magic circle, a double magic circle at that. So we're going to go ahead and do a chain 1, which does not count. It's just getting the loop started. Now, I'm going to make this a little bit easier to compute. So what you're going to do is go ahead and put 6 single crochets in this circle. So single crochets, yarn in the loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And as for levels, I would say this is pretty a confident beginner level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. And 6. So just count your V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one here is 6. We're going to go ahead and start the magic. And that is pulling on the tail. The first one of these 2 loops that go in is the one you're going to pull first. So just hold on tight and gently pull. As you can see, that one moved. So you're going to pull this one first, and then this other one will go away. Magic, voila. Just hold it tight. Now go back and pull the tail and watch that disappear. Ta-da! Okay, so now that was row 1. 6 single crochets in a magic circle. Alright, let's go to row 2. Row 2, this is where it gets a little bit easier for me to kind of explain. So in each of these 6 single crochets, you're going to add 2 extended singles for each one. And at the end of row 2, you should have 12 stitches. So an extended single is you're going to go in the loop, the first loop, which is that B. The first one's always the tightest, and I'm going to carry this yarn. So you're going to go in, pull up a loop. So you got 2 loops on the hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through the first one to kind of start a chain, yarn over, and pull through 2. That is an extended single. So you can do that one more time in the same stitch. Go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop, yarn over, and pull through the second loop. So that's 2 stitches. And just repeat that all the way around. At the end of this row, you should have 12. And 12. Okay, so now you have row 2 completed. And again, you should count the V's in each stitch. And it should have 2 V's for each stitch. So now that you've gone all the way around one time with this tail, I'm going to use the tail as my stitch marker. So for row 3, what you're going to do, and this is going to be the repeat basically for all the rows of the crown until you get to what size it needs to be. So just to show you here, you have 2 V's in each stitch, and each of these are considered pieces of the pie. So for each one, because you started with 6, you should have 6 slices of the pie. Now, if you started with a different number, whether it's 8 or 10 or whatever, that is how many slices you should have of this crown. So this stitch here is the top of each extended single. We're not going to worry about that until we get to the second stitch. So just ignore this stitch here, and you're going to go inside the V of this first V. So that is your first stitch. You're putting an extended single. So go in the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2. You're still doing extended single. So pretty much for this hat, you have to know your extended single. All right, so that is row 3. So that's your first stitch. Now, because we're in row 3, you're going to have 3 stitches in each section of the pie. So that was your first stitch, and the next stitch you're going to increase. And this is how you increase for all the stitches going forward. So you're going to put one on the top of the stitch, which is here. You pick up those 2 V's there. Pull through 1, and pull through 2. So that is now 2 stitches. Now on the third stitch, you're going to do a front post extended single. So go in between the stitch here underneath and up, yarn over, pull through 1, and pull through 2. So now you did an extended and an extended on top, and an extended front post. So that makes 3 stitches. So that's one part of the pie. And you just repeat that all the way through. And at the end of row 3, 6 times 3 is 18. So you should have 18 stitches when you get back to this last front post. last section of the pie. And 3. All right, so that was row 3. Now for this tail, you can leave it or you can flip back and forth, back and forth. I'm just gonna leave there so I know where to start and finish. So going forward, you're gonna always put extended singles in the extended singles. And when you get to the post, you're gonna put one on top and one around the post. And that will increase your circle to the size that you need it to be. Now, I'm working from the bottom of palm to the top of my middle finger. And depending on how many rows I do, I will come back and tell you. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and finish rows probably up to row 10 and see how far we get. I'm going to go ahead and push pause and continue with that and work it out silently. Okay, so we've made it to row 10, and I am using my hand method. Bottom of my palm to the top of my finger should be whatever circumference you need for the crown of your head, which let's go ahead and use the tape measure. So from here to here is about 5.5, and from here to here is 6 inches. So roughly from 5.5 to 6. Actually, it's at 6 inches. So my hand's about 6 inches. So now we're gonna go ahead and take this tail and fish it down this big front post, because I'm still using it as my stitch marker. Or you can cut it off, whichever one you prefer. So I'm just gonna take it and just basically go in and out and wiggle it through. Not too tight, but just enough to get it down. So you have 6 spokes and then your extended singles, and they should all kind of tilt. Oh, just lost a stitch. Let me put that back in there. So we're going to do a front post, and I'm going to grab this too. All right, so that is the crown of your burst of kindness. I'm going to go ahead and get the 6mm hook. And I'm still using dots. 6.0. And then we will go ahead and start the body of the hat. I'm just going to leave this there so I know where to start. Okay, to start the body of the crown, what you're going to do is basically at the end of row 10, you should have 60 stitches. So you start off with 6 single crochets and you increase all the way to 60 stitches. That's 10 rows. Now what we're going to do next is basically put an extended single in each of the 60 stitches. So I'm going to put one in each. We're still going inside the extended singles. 2, 3. I did add a stitch marker to that first stitch, and I'm carrying this tail and working it in so I don't have to sew it later. So you should have 9 extended in extended, and then when you get to the front post, which is 10, you should just go ahead and whichever one you prefer, you can either go into that stitch or just do a front post. I'm going to do a front post. Okay, so row 12, we're going to go ahead and start the crossing. This is going to be the setup row. So row 12 and 13 is your setup row. So what you're going to do is we're going to focus on the first 2 stitches. You're going to skip the first one and go into the second one, and you're going to do an extended single in the second stitch, go back to the skip stitch and do an extended single in that one. That is the crossing. Okay, now the next 2, same thing. skip one and extend in the extended. Go back into the skipped and extended single. Go to the next two and repeat. Just make sure you go into the leg. And you'll know how you've already gone in that one because the hole is a little bit bigger. So just skip one and then make sure you go into the leg of that one. Okay, so you already went to that one. Now you're going to work into two. So you have one here that you're going to skip, and then this one here is the front post. So you're going to go inside that stitch and then go inside this stitch. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches on that section of the pie. 5 crosses, I should say. And you should follow that all the way around until you get back to the stitch marker. Which you should have, I'm gonna start to cup a little bit, but there should be 30 X's, but altogether 60 stitches. So that was row 12. That's the first setup row. Okay, so for row 13, you're going to do things a little bit differently. So you have the crosses here. In between each of the crosses, you're going to put 2 extended singles on the top of the stitch or in between the stitches, whichever one you prefer. So we're going to skip one and then 2 extended in the next stitch. Like so. So skip one and extend it 2 times in the next stitch. And repeat that all the way around. At the end of row 13, you should still have 60 stitches. So this whole pattern is basically all extended singles. So you definitely will master your extended singles with this pattern. Row 13, and again it's gonna start to bowl over, but that's okay. You're gonna just turn it over like that. Row 14 and 15 will be the repeat all the way until you get to the size that you need. So once you fold it over, typically I still use my hand method. So I go from the top of the crown to the bottom of my hand. That's how big I make the body of the hat. But we're gonna repeat rows 14 and 15 until we get to the rows that the length that we need for the hat. Okay, so I moved up my stitch marker to the last stitch here, and we're gonna go ahead and work row 14. So you're gonna skip one, you're gonna skip this one and go into this one. Go back to not the skip one, but this V or the leg of the previous row. Okay, so you can kind of see where it pulls. So this is not the stitch that you skip. This next one here is the one you skip. So you're gonna go into the next stitch, okay? And since you already went into this already, you're gonna go into the leg of this one, the left leg of the V. And just repeat that all the way around. So between the two V's, you're gonna put one V inside, and then you're gonna skip this V that you skipped and go to the left V of the previous row, left leg, and do an extended single. So here's the next V, extended single in between those two V's, and then go back to the previous V and do an extended single in the left leg. Does that make sense? So you're kind of crossing and doing extended and extended. So skip, go to the next V, there, put an extended single. This is the extended that you skip because you went straight into the middle, and you're gonna go to the previous V and do extended in the left leg. So here's the previous V, here's the next V, go into in between the V's and do an extended single. Go back to the previous V on the left leg and do an extended single. And just repeat that all the way around. Okay, so that is the last of the stitch. So now you're going to go ahead and kind of repeat the next rows. So this is why I call it crossing with kindness, because you're basically crossing your stitches by skipping one and going back and crocheting in the skip stitch. But going forward, it's going to be in the left leg of the V of the previous V. So that was row 14. You skip one stitch, and in between the V's you put an extended single. The extended single that you skipped, you're going to go back to the previous V and put the leg into the left leg. See, it's a V. We're going to go ahead and in between the V's, so you're going to go ahead, this one was already worked in, so this is your next stitch here. I'm going to skip that one and put two extended singles in the next stitch. Two, skip this stitch and put two here. Skip one, put two into the next stitch. At the end of row 15, you still have 60 extended singles. So that is row 15. So let me just pull it this way. So far about halfway. So you're going to repeat row 14 and 15 until you get enough rows. So by measurement, I usually go until about is 1 finger wide, but you always can try it on as you go. That's why I like the top down best in regards to stitches. So keep going with the crossing with kindness. So row 14 and 15. So 14 is the crossing, 15 is the 2 extended inside the B's of the previous rows. Row 19, which is the repeat of row 15, and I did end up writing it down in my chicken scratch here. So row 14 is the even row, which is going to be the cross row. Row 15 is you're going to skip 1, 2 extended, and you should have 60. I'm on row 19 currently, and I'm going to repeat it 2 more times, and then I will meet you back on row 24. Okay, so we have up to row 23. So for the most part, this hat is way over my hand, but we're gonna keep going. So at the end of row 23, you should have 60 extended singles. And for row 24, you're going to do half double crochets in each extended single. So go into the leg of the extended single and do a half double. So yarn over, go into the legs of the extended single, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of row 24, you should have 60 half double crochets. Okay, I think I might have went a little bit overboard for the body of the hat. So technically, I would say for the body of the hat, I would say repeat rows. I would say to go to row 21. I think you could have left out 22 and 23 out of it, because this particular hat, we're gonna leave out the B stitches, and with row 24, you just did half double crochets in each stitch, half double in each of the half doubles. So now what you're gonna do for row 25 is you're going to go ahead and do an extended single in the 3rd loop of each stitch. And you'll repeat that all the way around until you have 60 extended singles on the 3rd loop. Alright, so 60 extended single crochets. This is the start of your brim. And so 60, I would say, divided by 5 is 6 repeats. So we're going to do multiples of 5. So what you're going to do is do 2 extended in the extended. 1, 2. Just make sure you go in between the legs. So 2 extended in the extended, and then in the next 3 extended single, you're going to do a front post extended single. 3. So that is a grouping of 5, and just start all over until you get to the last 5 extended singles, and you should be 2 extended, and then these last 3 should be front posts. So just repeat that all the way around. So 2 in the extended. So 1, 2, 3 front posts. 1, 2, 3. 2 regular extended in extendeds. 1, 2, and then 3 extended front posts. Okay, repeat that all the way around. At the end of row 26, you should have 60 stitches. 2 extended in extended, and then 3 front posts. Extended singles. Should be a grouping of 6. Okay, I got to the last front post double crochet of row 26. So this was 24, 25 extended singles, 26 was the beginning of the brim. So you're going to do 27 and 28 2 more times. You're just going to repeat this sequence. So 2 extended in the extended. 1, 2, 3 front posts. 3, 4, 5, 6, make sure you go in the legs. 7, 3, 8, 9, and 10. So you're just going to repeat that sequence all the way around. So this is a 2x3 brim. Do that for 2 rows. So this is 27, 28, and we'll get back to 29. I'll show you what to do next. Okay, we're coming up to the end of row 28, and we're simply just following the pattern, which is 2 extended singles and 3 front post extended singles. 2 and 3. All right, so here's the brim. It is a 2x3. So this row here was row 24, which was half double crochets, and then row 25 was extended singles all the way around. 26, 27, 28. 26 was the start of the pattern, which was 2 half double crochet or 2 extended singles, and then 3 front post extended. So you just repeated that 2 more times. And then for row 29, all we're gonna do is instead of extended singles, you're just gonna clean up this edge with a single crochet. So single crochet 2 times, 1, 2, and we're still working in the sequence, which is going into the extended single. And then you're going to do 3 front post extended singles. And repeat that all the way around. 2 single crochets in the extended, and 3 front post single crochets in the extended single front post. And repeat that all the way around until you get to the end of row 29. we're going to leave a little bit of a longer tail and base. And so after that, you're going to try it on. And this might end up being a little slouchier because I made it too long. And because we made it too long, we had to eliminate the B stitch. But this, I'm going to call it, since it's all extended single crochets, extended crossing with kindness extended to you. I don't know. Help me make up a name for this hat. You're basically mostly extended singles using on this hat, and I just love the texture of this hat. But anyway, finish this last row with single crochets following the pattern, and then you'll be all set. Thank you again for watching, and I'll show my face and try it on and let you guys know what I think. And I promise you I will go ahead and show you the hat that I made with Bods yarn, which is the Crossing with Kindness beanie. So we pretty much mimic this hat with the same yarn, except I think I only did 5 rows, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I only did up to row up to 19 on this hat, and then I did 2 rows of half doubles, and then 2 rows of the B stitch, and then 2 rows of half doubles, and then I did the rim, which was a 1x2 row. So you can always switch it up. This one here is a 3x2 without the beanie stitch, but I think this is what kind of makes the hat super cute. And I think I've talked your ear off enough. Good luck with the pattern. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments or send me an email. Thank you again for watching. As always, love yourself so you can love everyone else. And be kind. Take care. Bye.